Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
And a good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. We have a middle chair empty. We want to get going. We got to start hitting our clocks. We got to get on the show going. So Eric will be here right away. He finished a morning show. He's getting some stuff. He'll be here very shortly. Matt Iwanyk with you here. And we got the intern Brendan with us here today. His Hangout debut. Welcome, good sir.
Thank you.
Did you sleep yesterday? Were you ready for this?
I have never been more prepared for anything in my life.
Perfect. I don't know how you could prepare for the Hangout, but awesome. The reason I said that, like when we first started the Hangout, we had a couple of guests. I think it was Dean Millard and Guy Flaming were like some of the early guests, and they'd like, hey, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? So I sent them a list of like, hey, we'll talk about this, and this. I think we maybe hit one of the things. Like we didn't hit any of them. So it's like, yeah. So now when people come on, I'd be like, yeah, well, maybe like today we'll hit Oilers Canucks. Obviously, it is the big game day. But you never know where else this show will take you. A couple days ago, we talked about handsome men for almost an hour. That happened.
No, I think I shook all the nerves out. So I think that was the biggest hurdle to jump.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Music, on YouTube, or for those listening to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. As I said, Sentinel Storage, the proud sponsor of the EST Hangout, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. 75% off 12 weeks on 5x5 units. That offer ends January 31st. Check them out, sentinel.ca. We want to learn more about Brendan throughout this show at some point. Because I haven't, like, Eric's done shows with you, actually.
I have 75 questions prepared.
Sweet.
75.
I've done no shows with him. This is the first time I get to actually be on the air with Brendan. Usually, like, even like when I have, like, I'd be the host and they'd be the producer on the other side. This is, I get to learn a little more about Brendan.
Well, and you're also grading him as,
Well, actually,
you're on now. I mean,
well, no, he's passed.
Oh,
no, but for
this is true.
Here's a story from. So I'm
out of the loop.
So I got into Tetris, playing a Tetris game, and if you get the original Tetris version, there's 2 types. There's the A type and B type. A type is the normal Tetris as you know and love.
Okay.
B type is there's levels and heights you could start with. So the higher the level, the quicker the speed is immediately, and the height is how many like predetermined blocks there are, and you have to clear 25 lines. So I got to the highest level. Like I was at the second highest level once. Dusty was making fun of me because I wasn't getting it done. He went on and he realized how difficult it is. I got to the highest level. Brendan was sitting there watching, and I went, if I do this in the next few tries, if I pass this, you're graduating. Like you pass. I'm just gonna pass you through an 8. And on like I got through like my 7th try, I did it. And I was like, well, I guess a man of my word, you've passed.
Congratulations, Brendan.
Hey, thank you.
So
he could just start skipping
your
out.
future hinged on him, pretty much.
Well, I didn't say he was going to fail.
Yeah, it was a really good deal for me.
You're passing him through Nate.
He's just fully I've got a man of my word now. This guy could like just stop showing up, and a man of my word, I told him.
The report is you've already drafted it.
I told him straight up, this guy's he's gonna have to pass. I can't go against my word now.
No, you can't. 7th try?
It was something like that.
The first couple I wasn't sure I was going to pass.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you weren't going to be denied.
And then the stars aligned.
seventh time.
It was
charm.
clinical.
Clinical.
It was
Surgical.
clinical.
Yeah.
It was surgical. Like I got down to of the 25 lines. I think there was like I hit 21 of them, and then I thought I made a couple mistakes, but then I quickly corrected them, knocked it off. Was very excited, and then I said, well, I guess you've passed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just that's wild.
I think that was the end of my day too. Just like,
Yeah,
knowing
that's
this
a great
now,
way
I'm
to
gonna
end.
grab my bag and I'm
Yeah.
gonna
No, you
take
got to
off.
leave on that note.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't want to do anything to kind of
No, don't want to ruffle feathers after that.
Exactly. Well, you haven't ruffled any here. I'm just gonna say he's been on a few more. You said you haven't really done but the morning shows of spectacular. It's I think it's like a defensive back. In football, man, you don't notice, and that's almost the best thing in terms of what he was doing technically. There was no.
Yeah. I love a good defensive back.
Yeah, but when you don't,
See in your
he's
eyes.
there. He's keeping the play. It's all good.
He's watching it all. He's seen
Non-issue.
the play develop,
Non-issue. Yeah,
going where he thinks the ball's going to go,
that's him.
covers it off.
That's him. He's a nickelback,
You're a receiver?
outside linebacker
You're outside linebacker.
slash defensive back, depending on the package.
Duck Dad, this is live, being recorded and archived. Nate has access to this confession. Not confession. It's... I
Pat's
said
in on
what
it.
I said.
Pat would understand. Pat would.
Hey.
He'd think that's great.
Hey, for
Surprised he
Pat,
hasn't called you yet to
for
congratulate you.
straight up, they're happy. They get a graduation.
Yeah.
They're happy.
Yeah,
They get the stats.
exactly. Yeah.
So I guess like you could start talking back to me every so often. It's like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, you can really open this puppy up.
If I sit there and be like, I'm gonna fail you, you'd be like, no, you're not.
We'll actually use you to do things to him that we've always.
That's
You can be our
brain.
Trojan horse. Yeah. Hi, you can't take it. Hey, if you,
It was said on January 23rd at the start of the Hangout. Here's the audio. Now you can clip it all, and it's there forever.
is Tetris your favorite game on that Play More
I
Tables
can't
and
play
Games?
it now because I beat it. Well, it's like it
Okay.
was no. So
Brag, eh?
Well, yeah, but I mean, so you don't
no,
go back.
Tecmo
And,
is my favorite thing.
yeah, I know, but you're are
I
you
beat
do you have
that
all the
level.
games written out? And you're crossing them off as you beat each one. Like you're gonna.
No, it's
You should. Every single one of the 8,000 in that machine. That'd be a feat.
6,500, I believe there is.
Oh,
No,
6,499 now.
the story about this is back when I was doing the Green and Gold Kickoff post-game shows with Jeff Walker. Him and I would take turns going through the levels during the elk season, and we'd try to beat them. And I was the one that beat the 9th level at the very end. He beat, I think, 8. And it was our way, like, the Elks were also a disaster of a team that year.
Yeah.
This would have been 2 seasons ago, so the 22 season.
Man, having Tetris be more exciting than the football team is
So
that's a knock.
So we'd watch the game, and then somebody would go up and play, and it was... So I haven't played it since then, but now I did it. So now I got to wait like a few months to go back at it again. Because I did it.
What's your next?
Well, I need to get Tecmo going.
Yeah, we're still preseason, right? And we're still trying to get players and filling out the league, I guess.
I lost to Hernan yesterday in exhibition play. Minnesota was trash. I think their quarterback's either Brad Johnson or Jin McMahon.
I think it's Brad.
Well, according to August of 1993, both were on the Minnesota Vikings roster.
Yeah.
The game only calls it Vikings quarterback number 0. There's only 2 quarterbacks, Joe Montana and that quarterback, that don't have their names. He was trash yesterday. Utter trash. I lost 9-6.
Ooh, wow.
No, 9-7. 9-7.
And you were the Vikings, and he was.
Who was he?
Was it like an
KC.
NFC North?
He was KC.
Oh, okay.
He was KC. We got a basketball game going on here. So we'll have to get you into Tecmo.
yeah. I don't. You guys are very intimidating on that machine. I'm not gonna lie, and it's very much my own thing. But I sit there and watch, and it is.
Well,
serious.
you're lurking. You're taking notes. You're seeing how, and then you're gonna
Yeah. Strengths, weaknesses.
scouting. Yeah. I like it.
So look, I'll teach anyone Tecmo how to play it. The basics.
Well, it's football.
Can't teach. Well, I could.
Yeah, but
I could teach like the throws, how to change your playbook.
yeah.
I'm not going to reveal all my secrets right off.
Nor should you. I don't
just
think
gonna
he
say
would
that
even
right
appreciate that. He wants to be.
You got to
tested a
earn your
bit.
way
Yeah, you
fully
got
up there, but we got to get this going. I'm disappointed we actually don't have the Tecmo lead fully up and running.
Well, I was saying earlier, the CFL is laughing at us now for not releasing the schedule yet. I mean, you got the CFL laughing at you for not releasing a schedule, eh? How many preseason weeks do we have in Tecmo? Like, it's more than the NFL, hey? We're like on week 20?
Well, we got that machine before Christmas. We're closing in on
NFL
a
plays
month.
during Christmas. We don't. I mean, we're already losing time there. I think, though, but you don't want to start, you want to have it all, you don't want to be too premature. And this is a big
But
thing.
I want to get going.
Yeah, but it is the inaugural season here at EST. You kind of want to.
Like Yukon Jack isn't like what's he doing? This guy should be at our door once a week, going like, "Hey, I'm ready to play."
I could see
even
him getting voted
exhibition.
out of the league
But like,
sooner.
hey guys, when are we starting this league? Like, he sends a text like a couple weeks ago. What's happening with the league? Well, why don't you organize it, Uke? What are you doing
Yeah.
after 10 o'clock when your morning show's over?
I could see you. I could see you owners kind of huddling together at your Boca Raton meeting and maybe saying, "Hey, maybe we give it to somebody a little more caring or attentive."
I'm ready. I'm ready to get going. I'm ready for league play.
Will Ray Chambers come by and do the ceremonial coin toss for game 1? I think it would be only
Ray.
somebody sing the national anthem.
Now, how come you don't play anything on the machine?
I haven't touched it yet.
You haven't even touched it yet?
No.
Why
I mean,
not?
what can you go this far? I can't do it now. I like watching. I like, at the old place, I was the, shall we say, the reporter, right? The media, the
You
press.
became our commissioner.
Was I the commissioner? Oh yeah, you would table things to me, and I'd just say, yeah, sure. But I liked. I'd Instagram live the games, Brett. I'd go on and I'd film them for people because people need to watch. Now we have the Twitch doing it, so my job is pretty much obsolete.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna work. I bought a couple of cables to try to split it, and it didn't work right away.
You haven't
so I
told
have to buy
Dusty
new
this,
ones
have you?
This one. I have to buy
Because
new ones.
he's really,
Well, I got to buy new ones.
he's married to this idea.
Well, I want to get it done. I
Yeah.
just
It's possible though.
it could be,
Could not.
but it might not be. I think one of the issues was I bought a splitter. I need an HDMI splitter to split it to 3 different things. I need to split it to the machine.
Yeah.
I need to split the video to a TV so we could watch it, and then I need to split it to a computer so we could stream it.
Dusty also had the idea too of Monday and Thursday night football.
Oh my God.
Where two teams are scheduled to come in, and then I go to Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge and host it, and we play it on one of the 19, the full TV wrap, and we got it all going on.
Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
Are you scared of the NFL? Or
Well, we fill up the whole week.
Oh, yeah.
Who needs Maction now? When we could start Monday Night Football in the NFL. Tecmo action, Thursday Night Football, Friday Night Football in the Canadian football.
Saturday college,
you
Sunday
got college
NFL.
in the
Boy, oh boy.
in the NCAA, and then you got Sunday for NFL. We fill out the schedule.
Thank you very
much. We
much.
move Monday and Thursday night Central Casinos to Tuesday and Wednesdays.
Will Tecmo Bowl be seasonal, or it'll just be like an ongoing continual? Because again, you want to start a season, you're going to have a finite amount of games and award a championship. Is that going to be a summer league?
No. If
spring football clearly doesn't work, so I don't know.
If we keep it like we did at the old place, we're like Survivor. Survivor is like 3 seasons in the course
but
of
it never
calendar
ends.
or whatever.
Really?
Once a season ends, quick huddle, quick AGM,
And right back at it.
drafting our teams into the next season.
Yeah.
I am the current 2-time defending champion.
You got to get used
Presence
to
of
it. You'll get
greatness.
used to this.
Thank you, Brendan. It is presence of greatness. And I'm glad you make that comment.
Tetris
because
champion, 2-time.
I have the greatest season in Tecmo history ever.
Yeah.
I lost 9 games in a 48-game scheduled season.
He'll also be getting another championship next week at our.
I need to get the trophy.
Well, I had my mail arrive yesterday
Ryan has it.
for a big announcement.
Well, good thing then we didn't do it this past week.
We have a 4-man CFL fantasy league that he runs off spreadsheets,
Okay.
but he also won that last season. So
I'm a 4-time.
pretty high on the hog right now. He's
Oh, wow.
I'm a
yeah,
4-time
he's
junior champion.
smart man.
What it is.
I also have
Who
a
are the other 2
golf.
guys in the league?
Lucas, his brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Scott McCord from the Bear.
Okay.
I'm the only one to yet win it. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Mhm.
hate when that happens.
It's
But
terrible.
the other guy, McCord, he only has 1.
Yeah,
Lucas and I have dominated this league.
How long has it been running?
We're going into season 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for COVID, we'd be going in 11. But this year is the big year. We're celebrating our 10th season coming up of play. We made it through COVID.
We're gonna get a logo
We
design.
survived. Oh my God.
I mean,
we
we
should.
should. Well, come on, it's only just
I got to talk
10.
to.
10's a nice round number for.
I'm going to have to talk to Mr. Tube Socks.
He knows the story, does he not, about the Dunya, or no?
I don't think he does.
If he's gonna design the logo, we should only tell him the story,
Maybe.
because then he could incorporate.
But that's AGM championship night next week. But I need to get the
I
trophy
get it.
from Ryan.
Yeah.
I was at his house yesterday.
Well,
I forgot to even ask about it. Damn it.
AGM next Wednesday. Can't
Yes.
wait. Big
We don't-
news coming. Big news
Location
coming.
to
Yeah.
be determined.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't even
yeah.
know where it's happening.
Big news coming though,
I'm excited about this.
as you should be.
It's and for anyone interested in expansion of our CFL Fantasy Football League, it will be discussed as always.
As always,
But we do not expand until the CFL adds a 10th team. It's a very prestigious.
we
league.
don't want to water it down.
Sounds like it.
Well, and one thing you'll learn is Dusty has a rival league to us because he was sad that he couldn't get in our league.
Yeah. Then he got jealous, and then he stole your spreadsheets.
Well, they've
They've taken the
steal.
blueprint from our league.
They
No, not-
asked for our stuff, and I'm more. Our league is more than happy to welcome more.
Yeah, but I
CFL
say
fantasy
stolen because
leagues.
it's never mentioned when they should always mention it. Hey, our league, hey, we think it's better, but we got the idea and the
like we
rubric
started on
from
the
you.
ground
Yeah.
floor. We built this league up over 10 years ago now. It all started at Boy's house. I don't know if you were there, but Luke and I were having a conversation because the two at TSN had their CFL fantasy, and the big prize was a Joseph Abboud suit. Remember that?
How could I
Because
forget?
if anything is going to get young people excited about the Canadian Football League is getting into fantasy to win a Joseph Abboud suit.
That or a bull of a
suits.
watch.
Yeah, beautiful suits.
Yeah.
Not exactly the thing. Like, I got to go win that. We created a CFL Fantasy Football League, and it's all spreadsheets. It's all accessible. It's open to the public.
Canadian ratio. You need to start a Canadian.
We added the Rouge.
Very smart. The Rouge too.
We've added a Rouge point. Over the years, we've slowly amended and changed rules to fine tune it. And then they come along and they wanted our stuff. So it was, here you go, have our stuff. And they think they're a better league than ours.
It's more, I don't know.
It's a cute league.
It's cute. It's NFL based. They have the flex, right? Like they're all.
Yeah, super flex.
Yeah, give me a break.
I'm proud that they have a league. I'm happy that there's another CFL fantasy league here.
It's not the vibes I'm feeling from the other side of this
It's
little room here.
He's saying it with gritted teeth.
I'm happy. I'm glad that there's more CFL. I want more CFL
But a
fantasy.
united front. Both leagues have tried to talk to the actual CFL and say you need, because you're a young chap, you would be more inclined to play. The CFL does a weekly fantasy where you spend the money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's whatever. But if you could draft a team
100%.
week to week, I mean, come on.
I got into NFL in middle school
Exactly.
solely based off of fantasy football.
So the CFL needs to listen to that and look at that example, much like the Kerfloat did with the Dunya, and say, hey, they're onto something here. Let's implement it.
I even am proud. I personally believe, and there's arrogance for me on this one, I have a better defensive rules than the NFL fantasies do.
Okay.
If
Break
an
it down.
offense throws a pick six, that does not count against your defense and special teams because they weren't on the field.
Perfect sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the Ravens, if they're out there and they throw a pick six, if you have their defense special teams, you lose points.
Shouldn't be a thing.
But they weren't on the field.
Yep.
So in our league, if the offense gives up points, not special teams, not defense, those points do not get added to the total of what you gave up for that week.
Revolutionary.
Thank you. The only thing I said, so the only thing I do,
No wonder you passed him. He's hitting all the right notes.
I will say this. The only thing, if they go for the extra point, the single, I also don't count that because who's going to block that? I'm not going to hurt the special teams for that. But if they go for a 2-point conversion and they make the 2-point, that's on you because your defense goes on the field for that one. Make that stop.
Yep.
No, it seems to make sense to me.
So that's the one rule I'm very proud of. Besides the Canadian. That was a year 2 edition.
It only makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It only makes sense. But I look forward to it.
Week.
Look forward to it.
Can't wait for the. I don't
big
know.
news coming.
I'm excited about the big news. I've heard rumblings. The league offices has heard some rumblings of what it could be.
Yeah.
We're excited to see what it might be.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any real big rule changes, though.
Nothing was really tabled. No.
I don't think there will be. I have what I want to do, but we'll see if it gets done. Not as the league, but as the owner and commissioner of the Sacramento Gold Miners.
The way he's been buttering you up, he may be the 5th franchise here sooner than later. I mean, if you won in the league, you'd probably get in today.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to ruin 10 years of.
Look at this. He's saying.
Now he's trying to back out.
I love it. I love it.
Don't get too close yet. I'm going to be screwed this year, though.
What is this?
Because the top 3 picks are pretty solid picks, and I'm pick 4. I think the way the first 3 picks could go in a Canadian Football League CFL draft this year, Nathan Rourke, Trey Ford, Brady Oliveira,
Canadian
would be the top 3.
You can get that Canadian quarterback, man, and you can and then you got another American star at your quarterback, so you can start either Rourke or Ford in that Canadian slot with a world of difference.
Yeah, like I don't even want to. How could I even compete?
But
Well,
as
we
you
got Scott
mentioned,
McCord in our league.
if you played a season or two with a CFL instituted league wide type of week to week fantasy, you'd catch on in a heart. Like it's because it would juice up your interest, and you.
Yeah, all it is it's following the Canadian Football League, like the NFL, but it doesn't take that much.
Because again, people always had their NFL teams, I should say, but back when fantasy kind of started up, you watched your team. You didn't pay attention to the Panthers and Buccaneers because you had Johnny whatever on your, you just wouldn't watch that game. You'd have no interest. Now you do.
Actually, one thing I will say about the CFL fantasy versus NFL fantasy, I find CFL fantasy more difficult because week in and week out, like in the NFL, generally, the best receivers, for the most part, week in and week out produce. the Canadian Football League, I think especially this year,
It's all over the place.
It was so hot and cold.
Yeah.
You would have the top receivers in the game have 1 week that they were great, cold for the next game, hot the week after that, cold the next game, because it was spread out so much. It was hard to figure out which player to play each given
It's very static
week.
in the NFL when you can kind of, you've got your starters, you've got your backups, you've got the other ones that come in to replace people down due to injury. But the CFL is like, yeah, it's a spin the bottle. Any week, is this guy going to be hot? Is he going to replicate what he did last week? He could go off, then he could disappear for 3 or whatever. And the offensive game, too, that the CFL implements is a lot more wild. So, yeah, it's not easy.
How big are the rosters?
Standard. 1 QB, 3 receivers, 1 running back. So that's where it's not 2 running backs. Canadian defense, special teams, and a kicker. Plus 5 bench spots. It's actually a small bench. And 2 IR spots. So, yeah. So it's pretty standard. I based it completely off of an NFL fantasy. And then we just fine-tuned. The first year we had 2 running backs in it. Figured there wasn't enough
not a 9-team league,
to have 8 running backs spread out. And then that's where I was like, hey, well, why a flex position? But then I realized, well, it's got to be Canadian. So we added the Canadian flex position, which was our ratio buster, which has become a thing. You want the Canadian because that's such a golden spot. It's just easy points because it's a drop off. Once you're past, actually, there's just another decent Canadian out there. I got to hold off on that. This is the EST Hangout. Matt Iwanyk, Lieutenant Eric, Intern Brendan. It's that some are calling Brendan.
His last name is my first name, but with a K on the end of the C.
I'm aware.
Well, you'd be. I'm not.
Well, you're looking at me.
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you. But for the general public tuning in,
we will get into some Oilers discussion momentarily. Here it is, big game today. Oilers Canucks down at Rogers Place. We will have the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tommy Hernan and Matt Cass, and they'll get you set for this big battle later tonight. Also, 2 guys and a goalie. They will, and for
Glue guy
hosting.
The goalie, or whatever name you want to call it.
2 guys and a goalie.
Glue guys and the goalie.
Glue guy. Guy and a goalie.
There's a rhyme there somewhere. Yeah.
When I've gone in, we've went to 2 Matts and a goalie. I don't know what we'd do with Glue Guy. Yeah, Glue Guy will be in on 2 guys and a goalie. So lots to get to when it comes to that. I do want to talk, since we're into football, might as well talk some NFL here briefly. Your team went down this weekend as a Texan fan. My team went down this weekend as a Ravens fan. Eric's team is still going as a Bills fan.
Almost an honorary Bills fan at this point.
Who isn't, to a degree, largely? Who's not cheering for Buffalo Bills?
No? Or are you even?
I
know you were speaking yesterday. You don't want the Eagles.
I want
tired
the
of
Bills
the Chiefs.
over the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I want Commanders over the Eagles. But I would take Chiefs over the Eagles.
Oh.
Yes. I don't like Philly, and I don't know. There's something about it, and I don't mind the idea of history.
Yeah.
Watching the Chiefs continue, like, as much as we hate it, I don't hate history. I don't hate watching something special. And so if I had to rank it in, like, Commanders is the team I'd rather see win it all, with all due respect.
No, I totally understand.
And that's the team I think would be a great story, but then it would be Bills after that.
They will be, this is a good Final Four. Lots of storylines, both conferences.
Mm-hmm.
You got a grudge matchup divisional with the Eagles and Commanders, right? You got Allen and again going to Arrowhead. All white uniforms, blue socks will be the look for the Bills come Sunday evening.
What's color? What?
White jersey, white pants, and blue socks.
Really?
Whatever. And I've been trying to look for. I want to get an Allen jersey though. I've been looking for a blue one, and you can't find them anywhere.
What do you mean? Like, really? They're just out
in town.
Yeah,
I phoned around, and one guy told me, he's like, due to their popular. Well, I went to this one place and I was like, hey, do you have any Josh Allen jerseys? And the guy looked around confused and he pointed to a Grayson Allen Bucks jersey.
Dang it.
And I was like, I'll take my business else. Like, it left me pretty deflated. But yeah,
I don't know who Josh Allen is if you're working in a jersey shop.
Well, especially at this time of year. And he's looking like and just pointing to the first Allen, like.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I phoned, and so the Americans, they get first dibs. So they've like kind of gluttonied all the jerseys and they've bought them all up themselves and none for Canada right now. I want the authentic, like I don't want like a Temu type of. You want the real deal. I'm gonna
the Chinese knockoff.
Spend a little money, exactly. Yeah. So I wanted a blue Allen, and I'm still. So if you have a blue Allen large that you know anybody or if one's falling off a truck, holler at your boy. I'll pay cash.
You see the video of him after McDermott's speech, like getting ready to clap, and being the only guy giving her.
I don't know if he's an act or not.
Josh Allen?
Yeah, him and Amari Cooper yesterday too at the podium and talked about hitting holes. Just let that. And Amari Cooper like kind of laughed, and then Allen's like, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll just let him do the rest of the like I don't know if I don't know half the time if he knows what he's doing or he's not off the field. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he seems like a good, well-natured bro. You know?
I think he'd be a great guy to hang
like
out
he's
with.
got some dry humor to him.
Yes.
Yeah. Like he's not. I don't know. Sometimes it's just too. What you see is what you get, but I think he's got a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
I was scared you were gonna like say it wasn't him. Or is that what you're trying to say?
No, like I just mean like for the Josh Allen. We see a lot of like pro athletes, especially quarterbacks. Like what you see is what you get type of thing. But he seems like there's a peeled back nature.
Okay.
A Josh Allen we kind of haven't seen yet. That type of thing.
Yeah.
There's layers to
I think
Josh
he's got.
Allen.
I think he's like I don't think he's as dumb as some people might think. And maybe that's a hot take because some people, he quarterbacked Wyoming and he's a Cal guy and all this stuff and wavy white quarterback. Sometimes you get that.
But he is marrying into the Bellas.
Nice pull.
That's Rip City's big onto this in VR Montenegro.
They're all into that.
Yeah. With Pitch Perfect and all that. Well, it's hashtag Bella's Mafia and hashtag Aka Believe It. It's they're really onto that one right now.
But he's more than just the JV punk that I think can like Tom Brady is just Tom Brady.
Tom Brady doesn't have anything to it. Tom Brady's football.
Exactly.
Tom Brady has nothing else.
A lot of these guys are just programmed machines, and
But that was to prolong.
You say knock knock, he says come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like his life since basic birth to now, like it's only been football.
Yeah.
It cost him a marriage, Lard, because of football.
But he cares not. Yeah.
That's what is his life.
Yeah. See, and I like guys that can ball, but then they also have a life.
They do other
stuff. It's very refreshing.
I find Josh Allen to be a very likable guy.
Yeah.
I think even just the way he plays, he can be likable. It could be nervous for Bills fans. Like I remember years ago when he took on the Texans and he was like throwing the ball around and it was weird. And then last week, like this weekend,
he's grown.
Well, he has.
It's that non-pitch.
He wanted to lateral.
Non-pitch.
He wanted to lateral that ball.
That's a defining moment for his career.
That was a funny clip.
And there's the maturity. He didn't do it, but he wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's the fun of Josh Allen.
My anus tightened so much in that moment. I stood up and I'm like, don't. And then he didn't. And then you're like, okay. And then it relaxed.
Yep.
But that's the difference.
But that's why he's also fun to watch. Is that he might still do that. He might still do that lateral.
Yeah.
And
not
honestly,
promising anything.
70% of the time it's going to work. But when it doesn't, it's 30, and you go, "My God, what did you just do?" But
Life of a quarterback.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Tom Brady wasn't doing those stupid things, but he wasn't as exciting to watch. He was
just
surgical. It was magnificent to watch in terms of the beauty of how perfect he could be.
Yeah, Maddie and Tetris and Tom Brady playing
Exactly.
quarterback. Where are we?
But the flip side to that is,
again.
like, you knew what was going to happen there. With Allen, you know what's going to happen, but there's always that what if.
You think
moment.
you do now. Yeah,
what
yeah,
if?
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't reverse that thinking come Sunday. I think the Chiefs are ripe for the picking. This is the time the Bills.
Patrick Mahomes says they don't get the calls.
Oh, God, he's playing that game now. He's playing that game.
He doesn't believe that they get any of those calls.
Of course
and
not.
If Patrick Mahomes says it, like I think we have to take him for his word on that.
We all have to sit up and listen, right?
I want to see if I can find where he says it today. I can't. I was just doing a quick Twitter search. I saw it. But yeah, so I guess maybe they don't get the call, so that's not the thing. And the other thing is, I saw a stat. Where did I get the stat? But of the 3 teams this year that I think scored less than or didn't score 30 points or more, it was the Patriots.
They were all like.
It was I forgot who the other team was. Maybe the Raiders? No, not the Raiders. They did it against the Ravens, and it was the Chiefs. Like they don't score points.
That's the one thing that worries me, though, is they find ways to win, and they know how to be successful. And in football, like, again, like sexiness is fine, but it's just in these moments that's what freaks me out, man.
Patrick Mahomes. So this is from Mike Catalana, who is the 13 WAM and Bills Plus YouTube sports director. Patrick Mahomes said on Wednesday that he does not believe the Chiefs get favorable calls from the officials. Penalty numbers from the last 11 Chief playoff games. The Kansas City Chiefs have been called for 36 penalties for 319 yards.
Yeah, but
The opponents have been called for 66 penalties for 544 yards. The Chiefs, only one game did they have fewer penalties than the other, only one game where Casey did not have fewer accepted penalties was Super Bowl versus the 49ers. Each team had 6.
I think Huss was throwing this statistic out there too, following last weekend. I can't stand the amount of penalty. I don't care about the amount of penalties. Half of those could be 5-yard, whatever, in a non-situation. If I'm getting
it's the yards part.
It's the third
it's the
and
situation.
8
It's the situation. Give me the situations, because if I'm out penalized 10-1, but that one penalty keeps you on the field for a game deciding drive, well, that's ultimately the one that matters. Not the 5-yard, whatever encroachment.
But the flip side to this is, in the 11 games, the opponents have been flagged for over 500, almost 550 yards, and the Chiefs have been flagged for 320 yards. That means the Chiefs have had to go, or their opponents had to go double the amount that the KC Chiefs have had to. You have to go longer to get your points. And that's where it's like, I look at yards too here.
You can.
I
don't like looking at the amount of calls. That to me is a garbage number. I don't care.
Those could be cheap.
Exactly.
They could be small yards, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the yards I look at, though. When you're saying that the opponents have been penalized 541 yards and the Chiefs have been penalized 319 yards, that means the opponents have had to go a field and a half more than the Chiefs.
But even those
11
games. What are those situations? Are you already facing a 3rd and 15 and then you get called for a time count? So
Still, the numbers stay that the Chiefs get the calls, less calls, like against them.
That's
and
great.
The opponents.
But in football, there's 2 to 3 plays that decide usually a game, right? And if it's 2 to 3 plays, 2 to 3 calls, same type of thing. I'm not having it. As Patrick Mahomes was supposed to say, the refs favor us, right? Like he's not going to say the opposite, and I get that from him. But it's just, I don't even like talking about this. I don't like talking about the fact that they like. And you're a soccer fan, aren't you, Matty? We always hear about diving and stuff and all. I'm never going to watch another. I can't watch this. Well, like Mahomes doing the Titanic thing out of bounds. It's all on tape. You can shove your numbers, where they go. When your quarterback's getting touched out of bounds and he flails himself, nobody's pronouncing that they're never going to watch football again because he's taking a dive out of bounds. So, like the numbers and everything, it's not that they get the statistical calls or the numbers or anything, but I just do think that, they've won a lot of people over with their success with the Swift stuff. Like if refs refereeing his daughter's like a Swiftie, does nobody take that into account? Oh, daddy, please don't,
I think what it comes down to is I don't believe that the league has a mandate if we got the Chiefs.
No.
But I could see a ref.
There's a vibe.
I could see a ref going into the game going, okay, for a business perspective,
yes,
having the Chiefs win is better.
Sure.
So I could see that having Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl, all that. People may sit there and say they're tired
and
of her,
you're usually
all that
an
stuff,
Arrowhead as well.
But that is a big money. And I could see that for the benefit of the doubt, if they see a close call or something, they're going to go, I don't want to be the guy that messes up the Chiefs.
Yes.
And that call on Patrick Mahomes that ruins business for this league that I'm going to get in trouble for, as opposed to I'm going to make so that I think they overdo it.
And that's a split-second thought going through your head that in that moment you're like, what do I lean towards? What's my subconscious leaning towards?
Which is why the NFL should add
That's why people think it's fixed.
Well, this is why the NFL needs to add some stuff that the CFL has. When it comes to roughing the passer or things like that, that can be challenged in the Canadian Football League. I think if you had the Patrick Mahomes, dive one, you could maybe challenge it. Maybe that gets overturned.
Yeah, but overturning that to a ref's
chance
discretion.
to have,
but then admitting they're wrong.
You have a command center.
Yeah, no, I get
The
that.
CFL, it gets overturned in the Canadian Football League.
It does. Oh, I know that.
So, like, it's one of those things. I would rather give it a second chance to take a
If
look
a guy gets tripped and rolls into a quarterback, it can be overturned and called roughing. I fully understand. But yeah, no, another, the CFL has been giving the NFL great ideas over the years. Why not implement this one? Why stop now? Right? Not wrong.
Expand the review a little bit more. That's the way I would do it.
I don't understand. Like, I guess I get the pace of play kind of thing. Not that that's been a huge problem in the National Football League, but if we have the technology and the capability to review anything at any given time, why are there rules saying we can only review this many things?
Somebody's gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the NFL for a year did allow more reviews. Might have been pass interferences. And for whatever reason, they rolled it back again. I think they felt it was too subjective and it's too hard to overturn some of them. And there weren't a lot of overturns. But it was also like, you go back to that NFC Championship game from a number of years ago when the Rams pass interfered the Saints late.
Yeah.
And it was one, we all knew, like, this should be reviewed right now because this should be overturned. There is not a single person on the planet watching this right now saying that is not
You don't
pass
even have to be a
interference.
football fan to know that's not in the rules.
So make the change. Like, you should be able to, there's certain things there should be the ability to fix these things. But it, like, baseball took forever to add their replay system for certain plays.
Well, and they base a lot of their lack of change on tradition. And I think, too, when we talk, I mean, even what happened Saturday, refs don't like to be proven they're wrong, right? Or whatever. Yeah. Even though it's good for the game and it's the truth and we need to set it straight. That fraternity is tough to crack, and
that's why you need the command center.
No, I
right?
Yeah.
Like, you need that central area that is not the refs. Like, one thing, like soccer,
but then
we have VAR,
the command
and the
center
ref has to go up and judge their own play sometimes.
To a bunch of other refs.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, the command center, if they tell them that you're wrong, then they have to come out and admit to a stadium packed full of people that, hey, I was wrong. Even though, again, we'd all forgive them. You're only human. Sometimes you miss stuff. That's perfectly fine.
Mistakes will happen.
But I think refs have, and no offense, Surveyor Brett, but there is a certain,
some of them
they run the game, and they don't want to be from ever a command center or their peers or anybody calling them out. They don't want to be proven wrong in that moment.
Jay texts me. Maybe the conversation should be around the, quote, art of drawing the flag. Mahomes is very good at it. Probably one of the best.
Oh, yeah. It's dark arts in any sport. And that's why soccer is taking people a lot of time to kind of understand on this continent.
But I don't think he's good at drawing the, like,
well,
like when you're diving with
it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Well, it's obvious. But that's my point. And
we're not throwing the flags. As long as he's got the refs one over, then that's fine.
I think if you're good at drawing it, it's on those close calls where somehow you do it and we don't all, like.
I know.
So I don't know if I would call him good. Like, I think it's his name that gets him benefit.
I think there's part of it, but he's also succeeding.
He's good enough to do it.
Well, the proof's in the.
He's just too good of a quarterback.
Like Neymar would roll around.
He was awful at it.
Yeah, but he's Neymar.
Yeah.
So you would kind of get a benefit of the doubt. Whatever. I don't know.
Oh, I thought maybe
the Brazilian guy that starts with an N.
That's going to the MLS. And Neymar's supposed to be leaving Saudi Arabia to go to MLS, apparently. He played like 4 games in Saudi Arabia.
Where's he going? Minnesota United FC?
Chicago's one of the top.
Oh,
it was
Fire.
3 teams. Chicago's one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice retirement league. But I don't want to say Mahomes is good at it because I don't think it's because I think he's just been a great quarterback and the Chiefs have gotten the calls that they get the benefit of the doubt and he's the beneficiary of that. I don't think he's been good at the dark arts at learning how to draw the flags, and that's why those flags are happening. Personally. Like when I see that arm flail, we all like, no.
It was Kate Winslet on the Titanic.
Well, that's it. We should be able to know that.
Well, we do.
But no, if you're good enough at the dark arts, you should be able to go down where we're not going, what a dive. That to me says you're good at the dark arts. Is where we're actually.
I think the fume of opposing fans is also good at the dark arts. Like you generate a little fume and a little. Not completely, not a blackout dark.
I love how no one cares about the NFC game.
We care. right?
Yeah. No, I want to see.
It's not the narrative.
Do it.
It's one-sided.
It is. Yeah. It's a little more AFC heavy. I mean, in my household, it is. And well, okay, but the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, he's nobody's 100% at this time of year, right? That's what they all say. And
what can he do? That's what takes away from it. It's like, I'm not expecting the Eagles to be exciting.
They run Wildcat the entire game with Saquon Barkley.
Whoever comes out of the AFC is going to win, though. No.
Hot take. Yeah.
Here's where I say no. Oh, hey, it's Scott.
Up the Jers,
United, baby. We're having a great season, so you better be scared. Yeah, great season for United.
Not worried about you.
Oh, you should be completely worried. It's I think Ruben Moore actually said greatest Man U team of all time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that was the quote. That's pretty late.
Yeah. It hasn't been good. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, Scott Laurie. Our teams are playing in soccer later today. Where were we?
NFC.
Oh no. So here's where because football, giving 2 weeks off and allowing these teams to prep any given Sunday, the favorite will be the AFC team. But I'm not so sure the other team can't find the victory.
That 2 week off thing or the week in between, that always irks me. Like, it's just kind of
you want it to go right away.
Well, you've already bitten your nails down. Now you're getting into the,
You don't like the Pro Bowl?
What? I'm not a...
I always play Pro Bowl in my Madden seasons.
You sick.
I didn't. I'm just
of
joking.
course you do.
I didn't. No, it's great.
Of course you do.
I got, who was it? Jasmine and Belle yesterday. They said I should need to watch Gladiator. And I was like, well, I can't. I'm busy this week with NFL.
I heard that was
and
great.
then I was like, next week's Pro Bowl. Like, I can't. It's like, I just got to watch the Pro Bowl. Like, no, it's, but that's where you give coaches the 2 weeks to prepare. That's where sometimes they could come up with the right game plan and get ready to go. We all thought the Patriots were going to beat the Giants when they're 18-0 going to the Super Bowl.
When you throw form out the window, whatever kind of momentum you've generated, an example of Washington, perhaps, you've come in, you're riding this hot, you're feeling good. You don't really necessarily, but then you're right. Then you give shall we say, a Sirianni team time to prepare and an Eagles defense time to study.
You have that one bad quarter. Like
not
if
Eagles,
the Chiefs
but
come
NFC,
out or the
yeah.
Bills come out and they have a bad first quarter,
Chiefs
all of a sudden
Bills,
the other team jumps in there.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, okay, this game is so different that yes, the AFC to me will be the favorite no matter what. But I wouldn't write off either the other two teams from winning that football game.
Would the Chiefs would be the favorite over the Eagles, do you think?
100%.
Regardless of what happens this weekend?
Chiefs are the favorite no matter who they play.
No, I know, based off of going for the three-peat.
I think what hurts the Eagles hurts his status, right?
That's true. If the Eagles... Yeah, I don't know.
Because what is the line for this weekend?
If the Chiefs narrowly squeak by the Bills, though, and the Eagles, go out there and Saquon rips off another...
Bills are 1.5 point underdogs, so Chiefs are 1.5 point favorites. Eagles are 6 point favorites over the Commanders. I think the Bills would probably be...
We took both road dogs on the morning show.
To cover?
Yes. Yeah, just
interesting.
What did you say the line was for the Chiefs Bills?
1.5 for the Chiefs. I think, I would think the Chiefs versus the Eagles would be like a 2.5 favorite for the Chiefs. Bills probably 1.5 point favorites against the Eagles. If those two teams are taking on the Commanders, probably closer to 5 points favorites.
But kind of regardless what happens this weekend in terms of style points or anything like that, eh?
Yep. Its injury would be the big thing that would change what I would project the line would be. You could join us for Super Bowl Sunday. We'll find out who those opponents are on Sunday. This Sunday, but then 2 weeks later, it'll be Super Bowl Sunday, Century Casino, Fort Road, where every day is game day. We will be there for Super Bowl. Under $10 food and drink menu. Prizes every quarter. Elks home opener tickets, jerseys, win your tab. Enter to win your share of $1,000 in prizing, which is a chance to win slot play vouchers and table game chips. You got to get your reservations We filled up last year. There were no more reservations.
You got those specials on hand?
I do.
Holy heck.
edm.centurysports@cnty.com. edm.centurysports@cnty.com. Or give them a call or message us and we'll get you the email if you want to join us for Super Bowl at Century Casino. The food menu, smoked brisket cheesesteak under $10. Surf and turf under $10. Pound of wings under $10. Chili cheese hot dog with choice of side is under $10. Garlic dry ribs under $10. And then under $10, Bud and Bud Light, 23 ounces. Team feature cocktails, which I believe is 2 ounces, under $10. 6 o'clock lager, a can of it, as well as not under $10 because you're getting 4 of them, but you can get a bucket of 4 for $29.
Good house wine there too as well.
Yes, very good house wine.
Very good.
And they have the ponies. I will tell you right now, I will be on the ponies during Super Bowl.
I'll be on the machines. Are you a table guy, machine guy? You like the track?
I just donate. It doesn't matter where.
You put in a bill and you walk away.
Pretty much.
for the house.
Yep.
You walk up to
comes
the roulette
next?
table. Bam. What do you want, sir? Nothing.
You keep it.
Doesn't matter.
Doing a bang up job.
Jay's very good on roulette. I will throw that out there.
He is.
I love the ponies. When I was there for elk season, it was a fun time.
And the Caliente Greyhounds are always around the corner.
They're always around the corner. I told you about the Caliente.
know.
It's sad. We'll have to pour one out.
It is. We will pour one out on the floor.
I hope my Del Mar races are going in San Diego. Loved the Del Mar track. Loved it. They took a time off in October, so I couldn't bet them at the end of the season. I hope they're back racing because I will be all over Del Mar on Super Bowl Sunday. They better not stop for Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, they don't stop.
They're better, but there's got to be some sort of horse racing I could bet on.
There's always
during the game.
The McCords out there need their fix,
Yes.
and they will get their fix.
I need my fix. I only I don't do this all the time.
That corner will even be pissed that we're there watching the Super Bowl. I guarantee it. Like there's those racetrack guys and gals that's a different world.
I will say this: if Sandy's there, I'll be very disappointed. I'll be angry. I'll be mad. For those that know, they know.
He's the sleeveless guy, right? With the white hair and the mustache.
I've never seen the sleeveless.
Because he used to come to Monday and Thursday, yeah.
Well, he was there.
And he'd always get pissed off when he didn't win. And I was like, well, you kind of...
Well, no, he was there with the Elks season with Jay and I, and we had great Elks chats. And then when Trey Ford started the first game and won, he's like, I'm going to go put money on them winning the Grey Cup. And then it was offline, so he couldn't bet. And then Jay, back-to-back weeks, gave him some money to go bet for him on the ponies. And both times he came back, he's like, on the last race, guys, I lost it all. And I'm like, sure, on the last one. And then we never saw him again.
Yeah, that sounds...
So he's like, I think he took Jay's money and ran. He's scared. And then we didn't see him the rest of the season. So now if he's back, I'm going to be hurt that he turned his back on Jay and I. And our listeners.
You got to collect. And free heated underground parking as well. If it is a little cold around Super Bowl time, a great treat to kind of thaw out your vehicle downstairs. 2 levels. Lots of room.
Rip City Step. Do we know who Brendan's favorite teams are? Using Iwanyk's logic for picking teams, which it should be Chiefs, Warriors, Dodgers, and Lightning. You're a bit older than that, so that wouldn't work. Your favorite teams are?
Oilers, Braves, Texans, and basketball.
Sure, if you have a basketball team.
You can keep going.
Okay.
Lacrosse.
Those are your teams. Those are your teams. If you have more, you have more.
TGL.
Team LA.
Team LA, TGL.
I'm LA.
You're LA.
Yep.
Yeah, you were right. You've been waiting for somebody to ask you that.
Before TGL started, I said, I think I'm going to be Team LA. I was riding, and then they had a great first one. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I like Colin Morikawa. So
sure. There is an Atlanta.
They also black and white.
Why Braves?
Why Braves?
Any an affection with the city or
nothing to do with the city? My grandfather, I remember having talks with him about Hank Aaron. That's just something I caught on to young.
Yep.
And then I remember Dansby Swanson going there from the Diamondbacks for
Swanson.
Shelby Miller. And I remember thinking that is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So pretty much, I don't know, was that 2013 maybe ish?
And you weren't the Chipper Jones days.
A little bit before.
Yeah. Bobby Cox.
Because
I hated the Braves. The Indians, I was a Cleveland guy, and then they played them in the World Series, and I couldn't stand the Braves. They had a great pitching staff. Maddox, Smoltz.
Yeah. Tim Hudson?
Yeah. Did they have John Rocker at one point too?
I think so.
Yeah.
Craig Maddox, did he ever go there? He was a Cub. Was Maddox a Brave?
Yeah.
He was
a
a Brave.
Yeah. I always liked Craig Maddox. I would always trade for him in my baseball games.
I just thought sometimes, because the hat's very popular these days.
Yes.
And I didn't know if it was just a hat guy or a, but that's good. Yeah, Braves. And then so the Oilers, why Texans?
Texans was J.J. Watt.
Yeah, we talked about,
Yep. And that was early on too. Just more cheering for the player than the team, and kind of by default, all of a sudden you're cheering for the team.
And you floated around, you had nobody, and then that sucked you in.
Yeah. Exactly. Just playing the games and
the games,
fantasy earlier on.
And you don't have a college football that you just
Nothing
kind of,
I live and die with. I would said maybe the Clemson Tigers, but
That's a good one.
yeah, for no good reason.
There is never a reason for you to go to college, I think, for a large part. Canada?
No, well,
It's such a weird, like, I'm a Hurricanes fan. Now, I fell in love with them. Most of my teams are the same thing, but I love their, like, defenses and stuff.
but you're afforded to go like, I like their logo. Or
I like the Washington State Cougars as well for football because they're on our
I like the
TDs.
color orange. Yeah.
I see them because of Spokane, and we
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
like growing up, they'd talk about the Cougars, and so it's like, yeah, I love the Washington State Cougars. But yeah, you could be there and be like, just like, well, your brother loves the Washington Huskies because he went to go see a game, and has now fallen in love with them.
Yeah.
Like it's all different when it comes to those. Are
And
the
you
fun
get
ones.
again the channel, the accessibility to it all too
Yeah,
helps. I think. But speaking of which, a big Kodiaks fan are you too? Eh? Or,
A little bit.
Yeah.
Those guys must have, or may as well have been the NHL when I was growing up.
Right.
From cameras.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you want to go Oilers game, Kodiak's game. Oh, Kodiaks. Duh. They were rock stars.
Junior hockey's, yeah. I mean, it's everybody NHL, but if you are in an AHL market or wherever, that's your ticket, and that's what it is. And what did you big memories from going to those games? Are there any like Donnie Brooks and stuff like that, or like what are we looking at? No, nothing.
Not so much that, but I remember meeting Joe Colburn when they were
Oh yeah,
in their glory days, and that I remember just giddy and being embarrassed about it, walking away as just a little guy.
that's good.
It's always good going to AJ games.
It's kind of sad to see now that they don't pull very, very well these days.
I forgot to do that with Century.
That's where it's at, though. That's hockey. That's like slap shot type of Iron League. Like I like old rinks, like that type of thing. And
It's why I love Golden Bears hockey.
right,
Like
yeah.
you got just an amazing venue in Clare Drake. It's a great spot to
the
go
good
watch
team
a
doesn't
game.
hurt either, but
Good
yeah.
team. They got a good look with jersey wise.
Yeah.
It's just a fun time
Yeah, it's not as polished.
at Clare Drake.
Yeah.
And those players just play like that's hockey. That's not we've got an 82 game season and okay, well, it's January and like we just got to like sometimes you have the mailed in games or whatever and it's whatever. Like that's closer like playoff hockey, but every single game.
That's why I even wish the Oil Kings had like a war memorial auditorium that they played in or something, some sort of, you know what I mean?
Create the atmosphere.
Yeah, just it's for that type of hockey.
When you could have like, I would rather have 3,000 crammed into a building.
Absolutely.
As opposed to 7,000 in
Absolutely.
a cavernous place.
Absolutely.
For that atmosphere,
Yeah.
what it creates. That's why I always, like, I wanted to go see an NHL game at Mullet Arena. Because to see that, and if you could have built the right atmosphere, that could have been really cool. Terrible for business.
Sure.
Bad look for the
That's what
National
it's all
Hockey League.
about. But
for the experience, it would have been a blast. Abutski does say no CFL team for intern Brendan.
well, we can assume what it is, unless you're.
Well, this is
No.
also a problem with the Canadian Football League is it's not with the younger people. It hadn't become top of mind.
And at Butski, we talked earlier about fantasy, CFL, and NFL, and you freely admitted, like most people your age do, you got the NFL hooked you from doing season long fantasy, in which the
100%.
CFL
we need to
it's
do
right there. Grab it.
But we will beat the CFL into them. Don't you worry, Butski. That's what we do around here. Well, we had a listener actually.
You're gonna love the tailgates.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's
A listener texted us or tweeted at us a couple days ago saying, after listening to your show since the beginning and how much you guys care about CFL, I decided to become a first-time Elk season ticket holder with my two girls.
bam.
So we're slowly converting people back into the Canadian Football League. It's a fun game. It was a fun product last season. I will say that. And we got free agency opening up very shortly. I got to start planning that. The tampering window, which is in the other room. It opens
you want me to go
up,
grab it?
It opens up on the 2nd, I believe.
Well, I love how the CFL announced all those dates. They should have the tampering window brought to you by, Rona or whatever the hell they do.
And then free agency's on the 11th, if I'm not mistaken, the Tuesday. So I think tampering window's on the 4th.
Yeah, but the
And
beauty of
then-
the tampering window, it shouldn't be date specific. The tampering window is always on. That's the beauty of the tampering window.
There's a tampering window, and then there's the tampering window.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're
We're
always
into the
in
other
the
tampering window.
You're looking. It's a double pane.
We've got the screen up. The screen is open.
Yeah, the beaded curtain.
And then we'll open up the full window. We will have full coverage of that and see what the Edmonton Elks do. It'd be nice if the Edmonton Elks, to me, they need it. They could get Niles Morgan locked up
Jake
still.
Serezna?
That'd be a big one. We'll see.
Hervey mentioned D-line. I
Bring
think is
him
one of
back.
him or like a Lanier. I think would. Why not go big game hunting? Go get a.
Where does Gino go?
Make a splash.
Is Gino going to Calgary? Like there's a lot of questions coming. We'll have it fully covered on the Hangout and across Edmonton Sports Talk. Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout, they are brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of EST. Promotional products that bring a buzz. Check them out. thehighproductmarketing.com. Ooh, didn't like that one. Matt, Eric, Brendan with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk, live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, YouTube, Apple Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. I wanted to get to the others right away here, but since we're talking baseball quickly here, I just want to go into Ichiro. I haven't talked Hall of Fame all week.
Have we found the guy?
How does one person not vote Ichiro Suzuki as a Hall of Famer? I hate baseball.
But these don't get released, do they? Like we don't.
So baseball,
like,
some will just post it. They will put it out there, but you can hide, I think.
Coward.
Or is that a league everyone has to eventually publish it? How do you not vote Ichiro Suzuki as a Hall of Fame? Like, what's your rationale when you're looking at a ballot, looking at Ichiro Suzuki's name and going, you want to know something? He's not.
Well, he gave me a bad quote once, or or you cover a divisional rival. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think up reasons and excuses to which there probably shouldn't be one. It's got us talking, though. It's a great discussion point. I mean, you can't.
Well, the reason is
somebody's like, well, you can't come in perfect. I'm going to be the person to,
That was Derek Jeter. He can't be the first unanimous. Like,
yes.
He's not allowed to be. It's never happened. We can't
Not
do it. There's only been
allowed.
one player now, which is Mariano Rivera.
But if he was the first, again, nobody wants to. But if he's the first one, who's arguing? Like that's. I think other baseball players you could have a gripe against, but I mean Ichiro, it's Ichiro for crying out loud. Like nobody's gonna have a. So he's the first unanimous. Great, yeah.
Well, and I think just because the past you guys got it all wrong as baseball writers doesn't mean now you have to continue getting it wrong. Just because Hank Aaron wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer because some idiot
it doesn't make Ichiro better than him or, or whatever the case is. Like, it's not.
Why? Because in the past you guys screwed this up. Do you have to continue screwing it up for the future Hall of Famers?
Especially a guy like him. Of all the people, I think everybody can have a little something to do with each and every baseball player, and nobody's free of warts. But if there's one guy that you could maybe argue, it's him. Screw the precedent.
I hate baseball writers so much. They're just so arrogant, and they think they're above the game, and there's these gatekeepers.
I hate baseball.
Well, and Brendan and I were talking before the show about the steroid era and stuff, and baseball writers were part of it. They protected the players.
Sure.
They protected the steroids. There was the one reporter with the Associated Press in St. Louis that noticed something on Mark McGuire's stall, and he was ostracized by the rest of the media because how dare you bring up the black mark of baseball?
It's almost like they benefited off it.
And now all of a sudden they're like, well, no, we're going to be the gatekeeper. If you took steroids, we're not letting you in. No, how dare you have besmirched our sport? How dare you have worse? And it's like, screw you, you're a part of this.
Why would you want changes to umping and more like when you can have controversy and stuff? I mean,
they're the worst. And now when it comes to Ichiro Suzuki, how you could sit there and be one person and feel like, no, he doesn't deserve it yet.
But
Like,
do you think they gaggle together and say, they draw straws and you pick the short? You're the guy that has to vote against. Like you're right because you're saying it's a fraternity of the writers, and that's a tight, pretty. But who's the idiot that has to lend their name to doing that? I don't know. Again, is it made public that we can all see who's?
Well, I'm trying to see. No, I don't think anyone has found it yet.
The search continues.
The search is still continuing. We're still looking for who that person was. At least with the Jeter one, I think the person came out
on their own accord. Very
well. I think eventually. Well, they found out who it was eventually.
Well, they found out.
I think
a leak.
But now that we have a unanimous too, like there's nothing. With the vote. It's really annoying. Dan Lebatard got his vote removed years ago because he gave his vote to somebody else because he was tired of the baseball writers. So he gave them their vote. And then he came out and said, I didn't vote. Like, I trust. And baseball writers were all upset about it.
Oh,
and,
my
pulled
God.
it from. And then Keith Olbermann, when he had a show on ESPN, he did a whole like monologue on it. And like, he pointed out the hypocrisy of the Baseball Writers Association where Dan Lebatard gave up his ballot and like, how dare you? You have to vote. And then the president of the Baseball Writers Association one time was like, hey, join me at this bar and we could discuss my ballot together. And that was all fine. That was all good.
Well, you
but,
can discuss it. He ultimately has the final say.
But he was going to fill out his ballot with everyone there.
Sure.
And it's like, well, like
Talk as much as you want. I'm still going to pick who I pick.
They're the worst.
Why would you even show up?
They are the worst. Chris G, who will be on the Hangout tomorrow, actually. He was the winner of the flyweight to
Nice.
LA. Because everyone voted for your Yankees player, CC Sabathia. But that's not how a vote works. You could vote for multiple players. And I don't know how you don't have, like, everyone except one person doesn't have Ichiro Suzuki. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Sabathia, former Cleveland Indian as well, I do believe.
Yep. That's where the Yankees got him from.
That's when I liked watching him.
He was a good player.
The Big Cat.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I agree with him being a Hall
Mountain
Famer.
of a man.
Billy Wagner lost a lot of weight. He's ripped now.
CC Sabathia.
Have you seen CC
He's like
recently?
he's like an O lineman. Hey, that's what they do. They trim down. And,
Yeah. He was like, and he's like, at one point in his baseball career, he'd slimmed down a bit, but now post baseball,
He's
career,
juicing now that he's out of
Like-
baseball. Like his
Look at that guy.
It doesn't even look like him.
trim.
Like,
Look at those arms.
yeah,
Holy
just complete like veins popping out of his arms.
wow.
So he was a great player.
Muscled his way in there. Eh?
But every year I get mad at the baseball writers because
Well, that's baseball, baby.
they're the
Well,
worst.
speaking of the juice and your Yankees, what about A-Rod? What was his percentage?
It was,
he was
Baseball. I'm just trying to remember how to go to the website. Hall of Fame.
he was in the cut of like the ones that made it and then the ones that did like right like he was kind of in that
Complete results. Here we go.
yeah.
I just got to scroll down. So you have to have over 70%, I believe it is, or over 80% to make it. I think.
Andy
Or is
Pettit
it
was also in
75%?
the
I'm
running
going to
too.
say
I think.
80,
75%.
75.
I just saw it. So Ichiro Suzuki 99.7, Sabathia 86.8, Billy Wagner 82.5. Also, I'll go into that a little later because it was Billy Wagner's 10th attempt at getting into
That's
the
what they
Hall.
were trying to do to Ichiro.
Make him go wait,
Yeah.
sweat it out.
Give him 10 years.
Beltran was just shy at 70%. Andrew Jones 66, Chase Utley just shy of 40, A-Rod 37, Manny Ramirez 34, Pettit was 28. Felix Hernandez, which I can't believe he's already eligible for this. Felix Hernandez was unbelievable.
He was my favorite player for a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have a little. Yeah.
Mariners
Felix
your
Hernandez.
second favorite team then or
No, we just happened to go down
okay.
to watch the Jays.
You went to that park.
Yep.
Nice park, eh?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He was unreal. Bobby Abreu, less than 20. Jimmy Rollins, less than 20. Omar Vizquel, less than 20.
Omar Vizquel.
Dustin Pedroia, just over 10. Mark Burley, just over 10. Francisco Rodriguez at 10. And then there's David Wright and Torrey Hunter. That's how it went. So, like, the only guys this year that you could see, okay, maybe they still have a chance, or like, it's Beltran and Andrew Jones. I don't know how A-Rod makes up all that ground.
Yeah. How many years has he been on the ballot?
4th. And I can't remember if it's 10 or if it's more than 10. And if you receive less than 5, your
Off.
players receive, yeah. So Ian Kinsler, Russell Martin, Brian McCann, Troy Tulowitzki, Curtis Granderson, Adam Jones, Carlos Gonzalez, Hanley Ramirez got 0 votes. Fernando Rodney got 0 votes, and Ben Zorbers got 0 votes. So they're all off as well.
Tulo and Russ Smart. We had home run songs for both of those guys.
Well, Russell Martin, he had a great start to his career with the Dodgers.
Yes.
He was unreal.
Yeah.
And then he dropped off a few years, and then he got caught with roids. He was a PED. Well, not
Was he?
roids, but PED. Yeah, Russell Martin had PEDs.
But look.
You only live once, right?
Well, they're all
Short shelf life.
Yeah.
Professional sports.
yeah. Why just him?
What was
Why do you have
his...
to make an example out of him?
Well, they're all getting, like, A-Rod's getting hit
That's what I'm
with it
saying.
and stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's just a little more voting.
Find where...
Steroid era was the best. You have your clean league and then have a mutant league.
I'm with that.
Or you just, I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead. Giant heads, 10,000-foot homers. It's like NFL blitz. You know, like you could just do whatever you want.
I like the thought of that in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dirty one.
Well, even the roid games, dirty games. Yeah. And you can have them all.
I'm misremembering.
High jumps, like you're going over like clearing buildings.
Let's see what science can do to these people.
Oh,
Exactly. Really open it up.
Russell Martin was not known for his PEDs. He wasn't caught. I thought he
slander.
was caught for something. I guess I did slander him. There was something I thought for him that came up at one point. Well, sorry to
That's
Russell
libel.
Martin.
Or
I'm going to get sued now.
You're going to get served.
I honestly thought that there were.
That's because he's Canadian.
I actually got mad at him for being Canadian. Not for being Canadian.
Of course you did.
Not for being Canadian.
Do
sorry.
tell.
He, I got mad at him because of Team Canada at the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
There was one year here he was like, he wanted to go, but he's like, I don't want to be a catcher. I want to be like a shortstop or something.
Oh, go figure.
And Canada was like, well, no, like we've got other players. We would like you to play your position because like we want to win and stuff. And he was like, he was trying to treat it as I just want to go try something. And Canada baseball then like is like, I'm not coming then.
Screw him then.
And so I was very
He's
upset
the
with
anti. What's the Dodger that?
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, love him.
Mm-hmm.
I hope there's another World Baseball Classic soon. I always get up for those.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun.
The Pro Bowl, the World Baseball Classic.
I legit have always gone
Pebble
up for the
Beach.
World Baseball
You're excited
Classic.
about the Pro-Am coming up. Hey,
Well, but that's a legit tournament.
I know, but I'm just saying
It's an
just
elevated event. Like top players come out to that one.
top and Pro-Am.
I don't care about the AM part of it.
I know you don't get,
The
but I
Am's
mean
gonna
it's
go
part of
great.
it. It is part of it. It's
I know.
in the title.
I never
Pro-Am.
understand how the
Pro
tournament
Bowl
works. That's next week.
Pro Bowl isn't like it's the Pro Bowl. It's called that, but it's not like.
I don't know. The Pebble Beach Pro-Am is actually a top
I know.
golf
No,
tournament of the year.
the course is it's
It's, not,
all,
it's even the true PGA golfers in it. It's like
Yes.
the top levels.
-am.
Yeah, Bill Murray will be there. I don't care about those ones.
Neither do
wanna
I.
see them. I just want to watch my golfers because I love like this week right now. Torrey Pines is underway. Farmers Insurance.
Exactly.
I need to go watch it.
Yeah, I need to go. Do you want to step out?
I would love to. Well, I need to get TSN Plus so I can watch it during the show.
Ah, yes.
But we're not far away from Scotty's season. We're beyond.
I can't wait.
Curling guy?
Provincial
I
playdowns.
do enjoy some curling.
Attaboy.
Do you?
I do.
You going to be in
Perfect.
the EST? What do we call it? The
Funspiel
Open
presented
Spiel?
by Lloyd Sod
Yeah,
Insurance Brokers.
Lloyd Sod.
I told Maddie that I would be a reserve. I don't want to take anybody's
Okay.
spot, but
Well, I with the staff of our EST teams that are separate from Eric's team, we'll rotate people in.
Oh, geez.
Well, you have your team.
I do, but
I'm not placing people on your team.
it's comprised 50% of staff. I mean,
yeah.
well, so that should get me in.
What do you mean get you in?
Well, I have more percentage than A-Rod to get into the. Well, no, but I am part of an EST team, right?
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
not like the other. We're not. I'm not putting anyone on your team.
Okay, no, it's filled out. Yeah.
That like your 4 is your 4, but I have 2 other teams that I'm going to rotate. Like, hey, you
I
guys
see.
play in this game.
It's not a constant.
I'm gonna
Oh,
rotate. It's
okay.
not
You're
to
going
mix everyone
I
in
see,
so everyone
okay.
can play.
No, my apologies.
Unless you're all upset, and I will put some people
No,
on
I
your
just
team. And
no. I
you know,
just thought
you
you're
can
not
take a break.
classifying us as an EST team when we're comprised
You're not-
50% of EST staff.
You're like the.
And I'd love to take you on if something happens.
What I'll say,
I'll be
it's
ready.
like
Stretched
it's
up
like
and
Red
everything.
Bull has 4 teams, kind of, but Red Bull's Red Bull,
Yes.
and you know,
Yeah.
Christian Horner's only going to deal with his 2 teams,
Sure.
and then he's got the other.
We
teams
are
over
your
here.
AlphaTauri.
You're on that side, so
okay.
but it's reversed.
I'll take it.
You could take from our teams if you need someone,
Sure.
but we won't take. We can't take from you. Like Max Verstappen's not going to AlphaTauri. Does that make sense?
Just in the terminology, we'd like to be classified as an EST team, though. 50%. That's a threshold. And if he's going to be the spare, that's 51%.
Well, he's a spare for the other teams.
I know, but
Unless
for
you
all
want
of us.
him. So he's
Well,
a spare for all.
I think so. Well,
Well, if anyone wants to
very
take
flexible.
a break from your team,
Yeah.
who wants a game off, Brendan could
Do
jump in.
you curl? Or are you in a league or anything? I don't know. You just,
No.
but you have in the past.
I have
yeah.
curled. I know the rules of curling.
Yep. Good.
Not very good at it.
You can sweep.
I might not sweep in front of the rock kind of thing, but
But you can, yeah,
I'll
well,
be there
That's
trying
kind of
hard.
important.
as long as he's sweeping. We're down here on this end. He's on the other end, like just giving it.
Just sweeping the house.
The corn broom.
The official drink of the EST Hangout. It is the Finnish long drink legend of 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada. You can enter your postal code and find a liquor store
You
nearest
love
you
doing
that has the long drink for you to pick up. Also, if you're heading down to the Oilers game tonight, it is a drink with their partnership that is available at Rogers Place with their partnership through OEG. Yes, you can go get your Finnish long drink. You can get traditional or the sugar-free if you're down at Rogers Place. Pumped up for tonight?
Of course.
What do you think we're going to see?
Hopefully a couple
Massive
fireworks.
brawls?
I would love to say yes, but no, I don't.
Stetcher v. Hughes.
It's a trade I'm willing to take.
Well, Bells
Yeah.
and I on the Hangout yesterday, we're both saying, if you're looking for a big physicality type game response from the Edmonton Oilers, who's going to provide that?
Yeah.
They don't have that. I
You
think,
know,
the
Vinny
Oilers,
Desharnais would have been a guy that, sorry, he's on the other.
I think the Oilers come out looking to dominate by the scoreboard.
Both teams should. Vancouver is in a very big spot of bother when it comes to points in the race for a wild card spot.
But you don't think they might focus on trying to beat the physical team?
Well, they'll
Because they could do that.
they'll be the annoying team. It's up to the Oilers to resist that temptation and get suckered into that stuff. But I mean, for the Canucks too, I think. And if I could play Jasmine here for a second, we need to, from a Canucks point of view, also need the 2 points. Like it's all about points. This is a big game for both, and the Oilers' pursuit of the seeding in the top spot and keeping pace in there. But the Canucks will provide a dark angle to it, but I think it's the Oilers' challenge to absolve from that. But you want at least a fight,
At least.
a pound of flesh,
Yeah.
one reason or another. Who do you
Entertainment
see?
value.
Like who do you think? Who do you if you were to take a stab at who would go at it tonight?
Corey Perry would
One
be the
versus
that I
one.
would go with. I don't know who he'd go up against on the other side. And he's done it a little bit this year. I can see him trying to get out there.
Nurse too.
Nurse
Likes to throw it
likes
around
to
every
drop
now and
him.
then.
You kind of hate him fighting though. Hey, like you
Yep.
hate like that's the whole. But
And because it also depends who he fights.
yes,
And, like, let's say, I don't know who would be the good comparison to the other side.
Nurse
But-
and Vinny.
Okay, but so now if that's the case,
I don't
the
want that.
trade-off is awful for the Oilers.
Exactly.
You lose Darnell
Exactly.
Nurse
Yeah,
for
yeah,
5.
yeah.
They lose Vinny for 5.
Well, at least
They're
5
laughing.
though. Maybe you hurt a hand or whatever the case is.
Sure,
and
but
then-
worst case, like for those 5 minutes, you just lost one of your top defenders.
Oh, yeah.
They lost someone that they don't even put on the ice for 5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Stetcher needs to corner Hughes.
This is like if the Oilers actually want
Face wash him until he can't take it anymore.
This is why I also think the Oilers aren't maybe looking at a physical retribution tonight, is that they could have tried to call up Josh Brown.
I was just gonna say, what are the odds that he comes?
Yeah, but he wasn't even.
I think they would have had to announce it by now.
It's true.
He's a guy, if he's in the lineup, then okay, you're thinking Josh Brown.
But he doesn't though. Like that's he doesn't even really answer that bell too much. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
if you're calling him up, you're kind of like also telling
you're
him,
sending a
"Hey,
message. Yeah,
Josh, you're doing this.
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah. That'd be it.
Otherwise, we're not calling you up. Are you good to do this? Then he comes up, and like it's not like we've never seen that before. We've seen other teams call up guys before a big match, so it's not even like you could do this and be like the NHL would be like, "Oh no, guys, shame on you." We've seen this happen before. So I think that's maybe a little bit of a sign that the Oilers are like, "Hey, we're gonna beat the hell out of them on this."
Well, they lost the game too Saturday, which kind of nobody really talks about. But that's the revenge. Ultimately, is winning the damn game.
Yeah.
I mean, to hell with the physicality part of it, and again, how it all kind of, as Dusty's been joking about earlier today, like if they get a holding penalty, is that revenge enough? Or like, I mean, that could just be as simple as that in the end. And Myers is the one. It's funny that the Canucks didn't release a statement defending Myers and his 3-game suspension, right? Like, does McDavid read the statement on the jumbo before the game? Like, I think that'd be a nice.
Well, somebody else reads the statement. Like Jeff Jackson comes up on the screen.
I think that'd be a
and
nice
reads the
touch.
full statement.
A nice touch
before the game,
just to drive home the point.
Try to pump up the Oiler crowd.
Yes.
like
Total silence
right after the anthem.
Yeah.
So when both teams are on the ice, the Oilers could feel the statement and the weight of those words.
Yeah.
Of the Oilers' disappointment in
Dim
the
the lights.
Have him do it live too, not even a video message. Like a spotlight in the crowd, Jeff Jackson holding a mic and reads the full statement.
One guy tweeted Dusty and I yesterday sometime, and he said that Oilers fans should boycott the rest of the season.
Why?
Define that as you will.
But why? Like, what's
Following the 3-game suspension.
to like hit the NHL?
I don't know. Boycott the rest of the season. I don't know what that means. Like, yeah, like sit out. One of my hot takes today was McDavid should pick it outside of Rogers Place. And if you go to tonight's game, he's going to call you a scab. But people would do it because, hey, I could get called a scab by Connor McDavid. Like he's sitting, scab. Everybody's just walking, scab. To get Connor McDavid. Do you remember that game? Connor McDavid called me a scab, and you could get like a picture of him calling you like you.
But
like those people at the airport.
I don't want to rationalize that, but I'm going to try to rationalize that. So if you boycott this game, the team that actually hurts the most out of this is the Edmonton Oilers.
Yes. And that's why that of all the takes, that was the one where I just kind of said, yeah, I put my phone down and I said, well, we're probably done with this. So I'm glad this game's taking place because now we can kind of rinse. Yeah. You know, the Caps game was one thing. And I know you were talking the other day, like the McDavid suspension truly doesn't lift until he, after the weekend and they're cracking on Monday.
Only because it's the Canucks.
It's the Canucks, exactly.
If this was any other team, we would have been past the McDavid suspension for now.
But I've had just about enough of this.
But then it would come back in the crack.
Yeah.
When he's back,
he should go on strike. He should turn in his passport. We should boycott the season.
So the Oilers give up a Stanley Cup because McDavid got a 3-game suspension.
Absolutely.
As opposed to one.
Absolutely.
One, he deserves it. And I think most Oilers fans agree. He deserves the suspension. Maybe not as the extent some people are happy about, but he deserves suspension. 2, it's a blessing in disguise.
Yep.
Connor McDavid is getting
he gets a week
rest.
off.
He's getting
and you have
a
Leon
rest.
Draisaitl to cement his Hart nomination.
The Oilers get to do load management without having to do load management. You don't have to say these guys are soft. You don't be like, this is the NBA. We don't do that in hockey. Connor McDavid gets a week off. And the thing is, he's the one that has to go play the Four Nations. He's in it. And he's going to want to play Four Nations. He wants to go play with Crosby. He wants to go play with McKinnon. He wants to go play for Team Canada for the first time since World Hockey Championships.
But he shouldn't. He should sit it out.
Even though it's also an NHLPA event.
Yes.
So they're making money off of this as players. Take the rest. Like everyone should just be like, you want to know something? 3 is perfect.
It's awesome.
If he was back tonight, that would have been great if Myers was back for the theatrics of this game.
The storyline of this game, I think, 2 on, when do they play the Caps? Tuesday? What day is it today? Thursday? Monday.
No, Tuesday. Thursday.
That had a bit of a storyline. Yep. 2 of the top teams in the league. I mean, yes, there's something there too, but Sabres on a Saturday afternoon? Okay.
Give him that off. If he's going to miss this game, give him one more. Yeah. Allow him to rest.
Sure.
And then he comes back next week a little refreshed. Because what else is McDavid doing right now? He's getting to... It's
refreshed and pissed off.
Yeah. And 47 games. Well, so 46 games he would have played, or what I think he missed a couple. Did he miss any injuries this season?
Well, earlier in the year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how many he missed. But okay, so over 40 games. There's some sort of bump or bruise he has at the season.
But we were talking
now
too
gets
that
to rest it off. And
when you're doing the long form documentary of, say, a championship season, these are instances where you've always watched in the... Then there was trouble. And then the music turns a little more depressing and the lights go a little darker. But we saw with the injury earlier in the year that happened in Columbus. People still talk today about that was a turning point in the season. So it's a chance for a lot of guys on the roster. It's a chance for the coach to kind of experiment with a few things. It's not the end of the world. In fact, and I mean, it may be a stretch or a hot take, it's almost a good thing given the week. If they were on a road trip or something, I don't know. Show me the scenario which it's worse. But again, you're playing Washington. Yes, we would have liked to see the Vancouver, all that retribution, whatever. But Sabres Saturday afternoon, that's your last game, whatever. And at this time of the year, this can now give him a week off. He comes back pissed off, a little rested. Yeah, you got the Four Nations, but...
And then Draisaitl gets his week off in February because he's not playing in Four Nations.
It's perfect.
So now you've rested. Your 2 stars get a little bit of rest. In a very important season for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yep.
There's no reason to be upset. Like, to me, it's honest. Just look at it as the blessing in disguise and going, awesome.
There's a lot of things to look at on a positive form from that.
The Oilers are not in the Canucks position.
He's not chasing a personal, in terms of that type of...
a historic season.
Whatever.
Just let it be. But the Oilers are very disappointed.
What? My theory, too, on that whole release, it was 2.5 lines, 2 sentences long. I take the point that there was a lot of saber rattling from people here locally and talking about those things. Oh, he's not going to represent Canada anymore. He's not going to sign any more autographs. And I think it was kind of maybe the organization getting out in front of that message and saying, okay, like
Tommy says it was Kate's talking around. Kate's was upset and he wanted something.
Yeah, but what do you? That doesn't seem to me like an upset message. That was saying, hey, he got suspended. We're disappointed, and we can't wait till he comes back.
Kate's wanted something. And
Okay,
that's what they came up landed on.
fair enough. But I'm just saying that like there was no arguing in it. There was no like we don't feel that this or this and that and the other. Like didn't the Rangers put out that statement that 1 year or whatever? Or who did, right? Like that was a little more griping. Like when I saw the Oilers release the press, I was expecting to read multiple paragraphs of like this, that, and the other, and
A couple
like
shots.
right.
Yep.
There was none of that. It was just
That's why I think even Oiler fans weren't like, awesome statement. Even Oiler fans looked at it and went, what?
right. But to me, it just kind of seemed like you're distancing yourself from all the other smoke that was out there, and that he'll never, wear the maple leaf again, and he's not going to do anything charitable.
Had nothing to do with that. It was just the owner was upset and wanted a statement up there.
Well, that doesn't scream upset to me.
Well, you got also Bob just losing it.
But that's what I'm saying. But this seemed to like calm it down a bit. Yes, he got suspended. We're disappointed. We can't wait for him to come back. The end.
By the way, speaking of owners, the Barrett Jackman auction, is that what it is? The car auction? Larry Thompson was seen on it buying a truck yesterday. Him and his wife were in their Elks gear.
Look out, Stampeders.
He was wearing a
bench.
He was wearing a double E jacket, and she had on an Elks starters jacket or something. And they were there, and they were showing on the Barrett Jackman. I think the Elks herd scout had
Scouts all over.
He had the tweet that showed the picture late last night. So it was kind of cool just seeing. Yeah, there he is. There he is. Just as you would expect Larry Thompson to look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they bought this truck. They might have been this truck, a 72 Chevy K10, maybe. But all of a sudden he popped up buying a car or a truck on the Barrett Jackson auction.
I tell you, him cruising through that Stamps bench, like you need to auction off framed photos of that incident in that moment, because I think that was an emotional turning of the tide for this franchise.
The best part about that too was he got through the Calgary Stampeders bench. He had clear sailing, and instead of taking the clear sailing, he turned to go through the cheerleaders of the Calgary Stampeders. That was my favorite part of it all.
No prisoners.
Just like,
Nobody's
we
safe.
should get off, but no, like
No.
I'm coming at you too. That was one of my favorite parts of that all. But yeah, so speaking of owners, he was doing that. Crusher also texting us, hey guys, Crushell here. It's crazy. Agree on Eacher and Jeter. There needs to be more accountability in the
Jeff.
system.
Yeah.
Fraser, I don't think Will, because Will doesn't listen to us.
It's in tomorrow morning.
Nuge versus Garland.
Here we go.
Angry Nugent Hopkins comes out.
I'll take a little of that.
Well, but like it's...
I'll take anything, honestly.
Sure. You just want blood.
Yeah, like it won't be. I go to say his name on Columbus, but him and Reeves fought.
Yeah.
So last night or the night before? Won't be
Olivier.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but give me something. Spice it up.
Yeah, they don't really have a true golden gloved heavyweight on there. Yeah.
Or you just go after their stars.
That would be
You go
the
to
one.
Pedersen and you rattle him, and then
Or Hughes. Or
they try to
somebody.
do something. Belzy was saying it yesterday. You say, no, I'm good. And then you just go back at their star and you just mess with their stars. And that's the message you send.
Yeah.
Who cares about the Vinny Desharnais and them of the world, with all due respect to them, but
No,
it doesn't get you anything.
They don't care about them.
Exactly. That's where they're lab. That's the trade-off the Canucks want. So I would be very happy for the Oilers if they actually didn't do much and just went for, like, if they get a 4-0 victory tonight or something.
Yeah,
That to me would be the
That's
number one thing. If you
yeah.
can go get something like that,
Yeah.
that's the victory. That's where you
Absolutely.
can laugh at Canucks
Absolute.
fans who are upset the fact that after they got their big win against the Oilers, who did they lose to? The
The
Sabres?
Sabres, yeah. And this was that loss to the Sabres 24 hours after their GM essentially went all in on the roster. Like, no, and I mean, you don't go out and say you don't believe in them. I get it, but we had Jeff Patterson on earlier this morning. I mean, they are kind of an up and down. It's a snip snap type of thing right now, and it's not a roster totally devoid of talent either.
Canucks 1 point back of a playoff spot. They're trailing the Canucks, who actually have a game in hand.
Canucks are trailing Canucks, or who?
Or the Canucks are trailing the Flames. Sorry,
Flames.
the Flames are up. They have a game
They
in
won't
hand.
go away.
They're a point up. And then there's a bit of, like, the Canucks have 3 games in hand on the Colorado Avalanche, who are first wildcard team, but they're 8 points back. So they'd have to win all 3 of those games in hand, and they'd still be 2 points back of the Colorado Avalanche for the second wildcard spot. They are 7 points back of the Kings for third in the Pacific, though, but the Kings have a game in hand.
Yeah, and I think tonight, too, is a 4-point game for Oilers fans. It's not like the Canucks are, chasing them hard on their tails, but to really cement home and to keep them down.
Well,
if you want to not just getting the 2 points for the Oilers, but really hammering the message home to the Canucks and avenging that Saturday night loss and keeping them in the doldrums of that wild card race.
Well, the Canucks' next 2 games, Oilers tonight, Capitals on Saturday.
Yeah.
Go get the victory tonight. If the Caps take care of business on Saturday,
you can really kind of
Canucks are
drive
starting to reel a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what you want the rivalry.
To end the month, they get the Blues, they get the Preds. Blues have been
playing some good hockey lately.
Blues and Canucks have the same amount of points.
Yeah.
They should beat the Preds, but then they get the Stars to end the month. So what do we got in Feb for them? They get the Red Wings, but then they get the Avs, they get the Sharks, then they get the Leafs, and then that ends till their 4 nations. And then when they come out after 4 nations, it's Golden Knights, Utah, Kings. 2 of those 3 really difficult games right off the bat. Like, this is not an easy schedule for the Vancouver Canucks leading up to trade deadline on March 7th, I believe it is. So
that'd be interesting.
I love seeing Vancouver spiral. It is fun.
I agree.
One of the things.
After the last playoff series,
well, that's the rivalry here now, right? Like that's people love to hate them, and with good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I felt pretty indifferent going into that series. I've been out of it. Oh,
Yeah.
watching them burn's my new favorite hobby.
Well, it was all BOA prior to that, I think, and when
100%.
Kachuk was in Calgary, and there was a rivalry, and now, but this is now the one. Like, this is now.
Although, look, there's a chance that Oilers Flames might meet in the playoffs again, depending on how things go.
But nobody's
And then-
talking about them, which
I know,
is funny.
but then BOA also, I think, will relaunch.
Sure, but there's not that.
'Cause it's a recency
but there's
bias.
not that animosity between the two like there is right now following Saturday and everything, right?
No, but if the Oilers all of a sudden meet the Flames,
No, I know. The
Like,
fan base will always have it, but I'm just saying
it's
the
gonna
roster
be-
animosity is.
you're player wise.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, the Canucks now and Oilers have the kind of that.
Because if the Flames continue dropping off here, and the Flames make the Canucks drop off, Flames make the playoffs, and you get the Oilers Flames again. Like, it is it was Battle of Alberta was the big thing. Even with Kachuk and Gaudreau when they left, it still was a big thing of like, in your face, Calgary, your team blew up, and but it was still big. And then it was last year. It wasn't really Canucks Oilers. It blew up because of the playoff series.
Would the Flames worry you from an Oilers point of view?
No,
I'm just saying
they
they're
should.
And I only asked the question because they've been punching above their weight all season long, and nobody's talking about them. And that could be one of those things where,
I think moving forward, Dustin Wolf scares me.
Long term,
Long-term.
but not this season.
Not this
Okay.
season.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
He's good.
They found the replacement for Jacob Markstrom.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're not wandering the wilderness to find their.
but a
next
goalie
goalie
can
type thing.
steal you, a series every once in a while.
If I'm the Oilers,
Like the Kings or Flames, you take the Flames, and of
I'm
course
scared of the
BOA is
Kings
entertaining, and
only for one reason, and it's not anything to do with the rosters. It's just beating a team 4 years in a row.
yeah,
Statistically, like probability wise, it's
they're going to get
difficult
one
get
on
done.
you. Yeah,
They might-
Statistically, they're going to sweep them. Oilers.
Oh, because it's going the other way.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's the only reason. But in the West, the only teams that scare me if I'm the Edmonton Oilers, there's 3.
Scare is a strong word. I shouldn't maybe even say it, but
Vegas scares me still.
Yeah.
Colorado scares me.
Yeah.
And Winnipeg scares me.
Not Dallas.
No.
Okay.
The Oilers proved last year they could go knock that team off. They could beat Jake Ottinger. I'm not scared of Dallas.
Different- you're
I'm not,
different.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
not scared of the Minnesota Wild.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not scared of the Flames. I'm not scared of the Canucks for them. And again, even if you showed me, if you took away the history of the LA Kings and the Oilers from the last 3 years, I wouldn't be scared of them. Like if we had not seen the
Scare is
Oilers,
a strong word.
Yeah.
I'm saying they shouldn't be scared of anybody. I mean, really, when you have, but
I get
concern, I guess, is
sure.
maybe
But even there's just the 3 teams that I would be like, if there's a team that's going to knock off the Oilers from getting back to the Stanley Cup final, I think it's either the Jets, it's the Avs, or it's the Golden Knights. That's it.
yeah. Those are your top players. But again, too, and I like to kind of focus on storylines and what's driving teams and players during those times. And I guess you could argue the Jets would certainly have a drive. I would say they haven't touched, a finals or something like that. I mean, and they have the goalie. That could be something. Vegas always seems to kind of they've never had enough. Like they've got their cup. You could argue. You know, you can kind of take a psychologically. You can take but they'll be up for it. Colorado as well recently, but
they're just Colorado. They've won a cup. They know how to win.
But having that hunger
That's
again,
the worry.
The hunger, and that when you've already had a big heaping spoonful, and I don't know. I just feel like the storyline is still stacked heavily in Edmonton's favor in terms of that drive.
They should be the odds-on favorite to come out of the West.
Like talent aside and all that, I get it, but
I just those are the other three teams that I think if the Oilers meet, I would call them. If it's not a toss-up, it's like 55-45 in the Oilers' favor of who wins that series type of thing.
Anybody out of the East? Like, because I think we mentioned it earlier in the morning show earlier this week, but I mean, it's kind of...
Well, Florida.
Yeah, but...
It would be one. I don't see Toronto making it all the way.
No.
I'm still stunned that they're having just such a quiet, good year.
But isn't
like
that
the noise from Toronto
with Craig Berube? Do you not kind of give them more of a puncher's chance this season? I know it's the curse, and they're all asleep, so they'll find a way to implode. Berube seems to have them, you know.
What about between the pipes? Do you think they can make a run? With those guys?
No, they'd have to make a change. Yes. Yeah. But like the Devils, like the Hurricanes, like these are all kind of regular season darlings, in my opinion. That you know are going to pose like a deep run threat.
And that Washington doesn't even concern me.
Yeah, they can. Those four lines are really good.
The only team that, and it's just, I guess they know how to do it. If Tampa got to a final, they know how to get it done.
Yes.
Once they get there. Now, they haven't been there in a few years, and they're not exactly the same. Well, they're not the same team as when they were winning those cups. Got a fine coach. There would be just they know what it takes to get it done. I would be like, ooh, this would be an interesting. I'd call it an interesting matchup.
Sure.
I wouldn't say I'm concerned or like worried or anything like that. Florida's the only other team, though. Because they at least can come in and say, we beat these guys last year. We got it. We got them. We're in their heads.
But then I think the retribution would be so strong, especially how that series ended, that I don't know. I subscribe so much to the fact that when you get your fill, you're not that hunger is the difference, right? And if you've recently had that Stanley Cup meal, it's
what will change all of this is the deadline. How do all these teams load up? And what do the Oilers do with it?
Well, you heard LeBron said the other day
on
Insider Trading, and he talked about, you know, the ad on defense, but how he feels. And again, his thoughts, and he can say whatever he wants, how it won't be such a sexy addition and more so of a depth PK, you know, build from the bottom up.
Are you see what Klingberg is for this team?
Yep.
And then you go from there and see what other moves.
Has your opinion changed? I know when the Klingberg stuff started, you said yes. It's a small bet. We'll see how he is. He can. But the way he's talking and the way he said he feels, are we not afforded to dream a little higher maybe for him?
I'll go.
We got to see what it looks like. I get it, but
low risk.
Yes.
Potential high reward. Like it's He can say what he wants. It's cheap money. Give it a shot. If it works out, great. If it's not, you bump him down the lineup. You still have time before a deadline to go do something else.
To add a non-sexy. Yeah. But do you need that sexy second pairing right shot?
I don't think so.
Ristolainen? Philly? Make the call?
The struggle I have is I don't know how the Oilers make those moves because there's not a lot to move out. And there is something, and Oilers fans are going to hate this comment. There is a value of how much of the future can you sell off? Because you want to be able to make a move at next year's trade deadline to go for a cup. You want to make a move.
Some people are saying one's enough. So if
you want to make a move 2 years from now at the deadline to make another run at the cup.
Do you
want to make a move for, like, as long as Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are here.
I know, but you get the one.
You want to have assets to go make that. So you've got to spread out your assets to a degree. And that's where, like,
I hear what you mean.
Can you throw everything just at this cup? Because at some point there won't be any more throw everything at this cup. If the Oilers go win the cup this year, great. Everyone's going to be thrilled.
Yes.
And I'm not saying
and that might quench a lot of people's
also repeat. Or what if the Oilers come up short again? But you went all in this year and you've got nothing now for a future deadline to go get that next one. There's, like, to me, you have to have a 75% focus on this year with still, if you're Stan Bowman, a 25 focus on next year still, because don't you want to be back-to-back Stanley Cup champs?
85-15.
Sure, but you want to go be back-to-back Stanley Cup champs.
I hear you.
You want to go be, can you go?
But people are
type
so
thing.
thirsty for
And
the
so-
one.
And I get that. And as fans, that's the way you're gonna act.
Yes, but from a business,
But
yeah,
if you're Stan Bowman, you have to have okay, what are we trying to do this year? What are we trying to do next year? What are we trying to do 5 years from now? And you have to have that whole plan. You got to weigh all of that. That it's also right now, like I look at this deadline. I look at what are the potential assets that could be moved. And we all sit there and say, there isn't that obvious piece. There isn't that defender that is unrestricted free agent coming up that you go is an absolute must add. It's a weak list.
Yep.
So do you really give up something bigger just for this crop? It's like drafts.
Do you want a cup or not?
A number one overall pick is not always a guaranteed like great player.
Absolutely.
There are years you get the Connor McDavids
Weaker
of the world.
fields, yeah.
There's years you get the Neil Yakupovs and the Patrick Steffens of the world. They're not all equal.
Dag was number one, was he not?
Are the assets that are available this year great enough for the Oilers to give up on those assets? Like if there is that player, if you can go find that second line or second pairing right defenseman, you go do it. But I don't think you make that move just for the sake of, like, look, Oilers fans don't want Denis Savard from Montreal. But what if he's the only thing you can go get? Do you want to give up all your big assets for him?
Yeah.
Or would you rather go for something a little smaller, trade up a little less of an asset, and keep on something?
Well, and where are you at with the current decor? I mean, say in his scenario, they don't do something. Maybe they add like a depth to kind of build up from the like Emberson, I think, has played
well enough.
Yep. But good enough for you for a cup run.
I would like one more. Or if Klingberg can prove that he's that guy, he can fill that.
He's never felt better. I know he's talking a lot, but I mean, it's just.
Well, we've seen players have had that hip resurfacing actually come back and play really well. Like it is
He said Kane had it, Patrick Kane.
It's a big hamper. Like it impacts players big time.
But are you comfortable now? You look at the depth chart. This is, and say, you had Klingberg on the bottom of there or whatever. Today.
To Maddie's point, I wouldn't want to sell the farm for David Savard as well. But I really hate going into it with that right side as it stands.
Yeah, and that's the teetering here.
Like if there is another Matthias Ekholm type player out there that you can go get, you make that move.
Yeah,
and you give up
yeah.
the farm to go make that move.
Yeah, but that's not.
We'll even say Nurse gets in a fight and you go on a PK. Who you trotting out there? Right? Like I'm not super comfortable with four guys back there with one of your killers in the box.
And that's the balancing act though, just with this trade deadline. Is I don't think anyone's released a trade bait board type thing.
No.
I think when it comes out, we're gonna sit there and be like, there's not a lot out there. So then it's how much do you actually give up just for the sake of giving up, or no, how much do you just also sit there and be like, the Oilers are since November the best team in hockey.
Yeah.
Over the last number of years, if you go wins, regular season, postseason, one of the top teams in all of hockey. This is a good hockey team. This is a cup-worthy team.
Well, the record, yes.
And it's...
But
we
it's the
can
blue
go
line.
do
Is
this.
the blue line a
We
cup-winning blue line? I guess would be the.
But that's
specific.
maybe you get that depth defender and is enough to just solidify all you need for this season. Because what are other teams going to be able to go to? Like we just went through who would the Oilers be scared of, and there's not a lot. Well, are those teams going to be able to make any sort of move at this deadline either? Now that's part of this too. If they're
the
going to
Leafs
load up,
added a competent goaltender, there are depends on the deficiencies of those of whatever team you're.
but is there that competent goalie that's out there to be traded?
Oh no,
for?
that's
and it, like what like the Golden Knights seem to sometimes find that rabbit in the hat, like the Thomas Hertl from last year.
They sure
But
do.
Are they going to be able to find that this year?
Yeah.
And it's like if no one else is going to be able to fully load up, do you really have to go and load up? And there is a thing of if I remember looking at this past, maybe I haven't looked at it recently, the last few years. And I think it is just memory a little bit different the last few years. But I remember like the 2010s, I looked up teams that went to go win the Stanley Cup, what moves they made at the deadline, and they were quite small. They didn't go make massive moves to mess with their roster fully. They made little depth moves, and that bolstered their team. So that's where I sometimes
rocking the boat either, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's that.
So I need to. I'll say I need to see the trade bait board to see, okay, who do those insiders think are really on the market? And then it's from there, it's like, how much of the farm in the future do you sell?
It's a great team. You got two of the best players. Your goaltending is usually pretty to very good. But it's the blue line. That's you know.
Well, and some will sit there and say it's the goaltending too.
Some would.
Which it's also,
but that
you could
also
go chicken and egg.
But
right?
the blue line's connected to the goaltending, so you can kind of have that
there, fixes. Yeah. It's, and then maybe Klingberg's a guy though that comes in and all of a sudden everyone's going, oh my God, this guy's he's been that little extra piece that the depth guy is all the Oilers need.
Yeah.
And if that can take some pressure off Emberson, and he can move up with Nurse or stay down with Kulak, come see, come saw. I don't, vice versa, whatever, right?
Yep.
Like, then we don't have to put Stetcher, Emberson as your two guys on the right side there.
In the end, I think that this is working out to be an Oilers year because I think the Four Nations actually helps the Oilers more than most teams.
Well, you mentioned the Draisaitl week off too, and that's another great.
The Oilers have 3 players going. That's it.
We always forget about Sweden, don't we?
Yep.
You know, like we're always talking. Oh, Skinner is going to be the goaltender. Oh, McDavid's going to go for sure. Well, yeah,
but it's just 3.
Yeah.
The best player in hockey right now. He's not eligible. He gets to rest. You know, the Avs, as much as I said, like, I'm worried about them a little bit. Makar just got banged up. So I guess we'll have to see his status or something. But McKinnon, he's going to have to go play. Matthews is playing. Kachuk's playing. Like, those other top teams, Hellebuck's gone.
Sure.
These guys have top player. And the Oilers, yeah, McDavid's going to be there. But I just, like, Draisaitl gets rest. And that's where Darnell Nurse gets rest. Maybe an Evan Bouchard needs a little rest or something. And that's going to help him. Hyman gets rest. I think that's a great thing for the Edmonton Oilers.
A lot of players in only 4 nations.
It's a 4 Nations Cup, if you will.
4.
Only 4.
Only 4.
Only 4.
There will be just one.
One winner in the end.
In the end, one winner. There's gold, silver, bronze, and then the 4th.
Is there going to be gold, silver?
I don't know. I sure hope so. I really hope
First,
so.
second, third, and the other team just gets...
Imagine being that 4th nation. God.
Damn, we're out. I'll be kind of excited for that.
Yeah?
I want to see some of those Canadians play together.
Sure. But I mean, it's also kind of I don't know. Hate to be a Debbie Downer. It's just nobody grows up dreaming of
No, this is fair.
playing for the 4 nations. You know what I mean? Like
being pretty standard with that. But it's also like Scotties will get going. Do we have any Scotties rinks yet?
The provincial playdowns are what, starting this weekend?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
I think it's this weekend.
Although the one thing I don't like is that they have all those extra teams that make it and stuff. Rachel Homan's Team Canada, obviously. New Brunswick has a team. Melissa Adams rink. Nova Scotia has the Christina Black rink.
Okay.
Quebec has the Laurie St. George's rink. Obviously, Northwest Territories, Carrie Galusha's back, her rink. None of it, Julia Weigel. Yukon, Bailey Scoffin, and then why is that doesn't make any sense. Let me give me something. Oh, why did I lose the audio stream there? The audio stream shut off for some reason. No, we're there. I turned it back on. Our YouTube's still going, but the audio stream went off. Thanks, Zach. And then right now, Sturmey for Alberta, Laws for Manitoba, Anderson for Manitoba, but I think that's wildcard teams at the moment.
Yeah.
Feb 14th through the 23rd. So there we go.
Can't wait.
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great.
It's the kickoff to spring.
Scotties. Well, CFL free agency, Scotties, Briar. We got spring training.
Snow's melting.
March Madness.
And away we go.
Then you get Masters. And then you're into the playoffs of NHL and the NBA.
Wearing shorts in no time. Probably do it today.
Flip-flops will be out.
2 degrees. Oh, those Birkies. I got to get a new pair this season.
Flip-flops?
Birkenstocks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I need new flip-flops this year. I buy every 2 years. You a flip-flop guy?
I do. Slides.
Yeah, with the full thing.
And socks, too. I'm that guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't like barefoot, eh?
No. I think the dogs should stay away.
Oh, I love going bare feet all the time, man. I can't. I feel so restrictive. Sweaty eyes. Okay.
We got the GCLD's oil stream. Pre-game show later tonight, 6 o'clock. Tommy Hernan, Cass, they'll get you set for that at 6 o'clock. That's following the Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne. We got EST Afternoons. We got 2 guys and a goalie led by Glue Guy. We didn't come up with a name for that one.
Glue Guy and a goalie and another guy.
Yeah, sure. Glue Guy keeping it all together. That's all to come here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Also 1 o'clock. The biggest game of the today, it is Manchester United playing host to the Rangers.
Europa League.
Oh, actually, I didn't even say the Celtics Lakers tonight too.
Yes.
That's a historic rivalry.
Raptors Hawks.
Sure. And leading the way right now at the Farmers Insurance, Ludwig Aberg still at the top, but he hasn't teed off for today at 9 under. Walker a shot back. Zach Johnson 2 shots back. At the Farmers Insurance. And we also have 1 game already underway in Europa League. Guys spoiled?
Yes.
Hoffenheim down 1-0 to Tottenham 7 minutes in.
Tottenham's in. Oh, yeah, they are.
James Madison, 3rd minute goal for Tottenham, those Spurs.
It's the only thing keeping Angie Postecoglou in his seat there at White Hart or the new stadium, whatever they got there.
Yeah, he's close to being gone.
There. Well, they're down with United at the bottom. Yeah. They're in the relegation scrap.
Well,
You're in a relegation scrap with Tottenham Hotspur right now.
Damn right.
What year is it?
Wouldn't expect anything better.
Yeah.
EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada Storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life's transition. 75% off 12 weeks, 5x5 units. That ends Jan 31. Sentinel.ca. Great job on your first Hangout.
Thanks.
Yeah,
well
very
done.
Appreciate it.
We learned a lot.
Yeah, you passed. We learned.
What, your teams and all that?
All I can think about is your sweaty toes.
But they don't see. But they are now with the socks. But if I take them off, they're breathing free and easy. Do you get petties? Pedicure?
Oh,
Jay Milne and I will take you for one. Yeah, the Glue Guy. We'll take you out for one.
I didn't.
Oh, you get a nice. Oh, it's a dream, baby.
Thanks for sticking around for an extra couple of hours on
Thanks for having me.
Well done, Brendan. Thanks to everyone for tuning into the EST Hangout. Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. Enjoy the hockey game tonight on behalf of Brendan, Lieutenant Eric. I am Matt. Once again, thanks for tuning into the Hangout. Lock Shop coming up just a few minutes. It is Dusty. No Huss today, so I don't know if it's Jake or Pat.
He had a root canal.
But we'll find out in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.